Okay, I want to believe. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can.
I can as well. Okay, good. So this is ERPNext, a full ERP system, and is also an open source in the sense that um, you don't need to pay renewals every year on it. The only renewal you might be paying probably support or and server, the cloud server. So those are just the only two things. So it's an open source. It allows for us to develop or customize to fit clients' needs. Like I said, it's a full ERP system. So it cuts across business operations and as well as all activities within your business operations, accounting, finance, manual, inventory, HR, and things like that. And it also has an authorization platform or a workflow process that can be defined based on your processes. So what I mean is you could have situations whereby when a document is raised, there should be authorization on it before going to the next level. So the system has that. So let me just, so this is how the dashboard looks like. I'll first talk about the organizational structure within the ERPNext. So ERPNext can allow for multiple companies, multiple divisions, multiple departments, cost centers, and things like that. So if I go into, let's look at our chart of account first. Chart of account. If you look at on the level of chart of account, you would see I quickly created a company called the Limited, Dainty Farms Limited. And if I drill down or drop down from this aspect, you will see that there's Pinmetrix Limited. So I can add as many companies as possible within the ERP system. Definitely, the operations, when it comes to implementation, it is a different ball game when we have to implement them. But sticking to the operations around Dainty Farms Limited. So if I click this, you will see that the chart of account drop down here is only restricted to that of Dainty Farms. So let's assume you have another company called Pinmetrix Limited. If by the time you choose that, it allows that. So users can be restricted to each of these companies. At the end of the day, you might want to have a consolidated report or a group report that will be able to consolidate all these chart of accounts together. It is highly possible within the ERP next. So if you break down each of these chart of accounts, yeah, you would ask me how many segments of accounts can we have? It is unlimited segment. So you can have, depending on how you want to drill down your chart of account. So I'm sure as at now, you have a chart of account. So it is that chart of account, whatever you are using as at now, that we're going to implement it. It will implement on the system. And if there's need for you to maybe further break down or analyze it, it is actually possible. So let's just go down. If you look at these assets, I'll break down assets, current asset, fixed asset, and that. If I break down as well, you would see that under it, it still has some segments. If I break down each of it, then it gets to the last unit. So all this can be designed or can be done within the system. It also allows you to have all your financial reports in, like your trial balance, your general ledger, your balance sheet, your profit and loss, your cash flow, account payable, and account receivables. You can have that within this same thing. Now, the other structure is your cost centers. So let's go to your cost centers, for instance. Cost centers. So another thing I forgot to tell you about the system is there's something here we call the awesome bar. It can allow you to search. I don't know if you're seeing this. It can allow you to search for anything that has been created within the ERP, whether it is a module, whether it is a function, whether it is features, whether it is a document. You can actually search for this and it will automatically bring it out, as long as whatever thing you are using to search for it is available within the system. So it can allow you to bring it out on the system. So that's why I'm using this. So I can as well go to the dashboard and start searching, looking out for it. But as long as I know the name of what I'm looking for, I can search for it and it drops down there for me. So if you look at this is restricted to Dainty Farms Limited alone. So if you look at it, we have processing, we have poultry farming, Dainty Farms Limited, Ashri headquarters. So what this implies is that you want to cost every operations or activities directly on this center here. So anytime you want to do transaction relating to processing, it means that processing will have to be selected as a cost center. And also, you can restrict users to a particular cost center. So any user that is not attached to a cost center will not be able to do that transaction except it chooses the cost center. So that's also within the system. So these are cost center. Then this cost center as well, you can have it in a structure, just like you have your chart of account. So where you have different segments. For instance, I have processing as a department, just giving an example as a cost center. Then under the processing, maybe you have something like units. So you can as well break it down into that aspect as well. So that is on cost centers. Let me see if I can open the chart of cost centers for you to see what I'm trying to say. So this is what I'm trying to say. If you look at this, for instance, I have the first segment as Dainty Farms Limited, which is the company. Then if I drop down here, you would see that I have all this. So if I further want to break this to be a group, that is HQ should be a group, then under the HQ, then they have different, you can as well do that and do the same thing to all other level of cost center. So that's about that. Then you can also allow for budgeting. You can allow for budgeting on your cost centers and also on your ledger account. So that's about when it comes to the financial aspect of it. Now let's go to operations gradually. Now, like I said, it's a full process, a full ERP system. So it can allow for processes to be defined and as well maintain the standard of operation in that particular industry. So let's look at what are the kind of operations that you might have. Let's assume you want to procure an item or you want to procure a particular product. You could have user end, whereby the user would have to make a requisition. Now, after making the requisition, it goes through approval. Then after the approval, then the product can then be procured. So you have that within the system. So let me show you an example of that. So under our modules, I have something here called buying. So if you look at this buying, you can see something we call material request. You can see purchase order. You can see purchase invoice, request for quotation, and supplier quotation. So you can see these are processes. It doesn't mean that you have to do a particular process before jumping to the other. No, it only depends on where does your whole process begin. So wherever your process begin is what you will be restricted on, or if you want to use a full process. And if I'm going to start from the first one, let's say a user needs to make a request, maybe for one thing or for a particular product on the system or not. So you have the material request documents. These are documents that can be generated on the system, and this is how the form looks like. So when you are defining the form, it's going to ask you, what is the purpose of this material request? You look at it, it's going to ask you, is it for material transfer, material issue, manufacture, and all that. So you can have this. Then required by who? So let's assume that you don't want your users, you don't want all employees to be able to use the system. Maybe you have a particular function that is the duty is to raise material requisition on behalf of the employees. So you can as well give that particular person, but at the point of we can have additional maybe employee field here. You can have employee field here so that you can restrict and say, oh, this particular requisition is made by this particular employee, but you as the user, you are only keying that particular transaction on their behalf. It is possible. Then this will also allow us for dates at which the product is supposed to be delivered or when it's actually needed on the system. Then all the items that are supposed to be requested can be done through this level. So you have multiple items, you can create more items, you can create multiple warehouses. Let me go back to the warehouse aspect of it, because this is another crucial aspect that is that the team might need. So it is a multi-warehousing system whereby you can have different warehouses. It doesn't have to be your physical warehouse. It could be a virtual warehouse, maybe based on your operations. Let's assume you have you are supposed to take some beds, some processed beds from, let's say, the farm. You're supposed to take it to maybe a selling point at that situation. So you don't recognize it as a warehouse, but when it comes to operations, we recognize it as a warehouse because wherever the bed is taken from is a location. So it needs to be created as a warehouse. And when it's taken to the selling point as well, the essence of this is just for us to track the movement of this our stock from one place to another. So that if for one reason or the other we could not find or there is need for us to reconcile something, we know a specific location and the item that we need to reconcile on. So that's about this. So I don't want us to go through so many processes. Let's just go straight to what's it called? Jump into, let's say, purchase order. Let's say purchase order. So we can raise a purchase order within the system, and the system will tell us if it is being billed, at what percentage is being billed. That is your invoice. You will see it here. If it is not billed at all, it will also indicate here. Then it also shows you the status of each of these documents. So let me just pick one of purchase order, for instance. I make a purchase order. I pick the supplier. So I told you that the system is a multi-company. So because of that, I want to restrict this to, because I'm logging in as admin, so I should have access to all of them. So I'm using DNT, for instance. Let's say our transaction date for this particular purpose is happening, let's say on the 3rd of February. Now, the supplier I'm using, let's say I'm using this supplier, so we can create as many suppliers within the system. Then this product or this purchase is supposed to be delivered by when? I think I chose February. Okay, right. Let's do this. Let's say 3rd of February. Yeah, let's say by Tuesday, I'm supposed to have gotten this. Now, I know the warehouse I want. I can decide to choose the warehouse at which I'm receiving the product into. Let's say, okay, let me say I'm buying diesel. I'm buying diesel at this end. Then I'm making a purchase order for diesel. You remember, a purchase order doesn't affect a ledger account. It's just a document that shows that this particular product are needed. So I'll pick an item. Then I want to believe that my item should be diesel. Yeah, I believe I should have diesel. Okay. Now diesel, for instance, are supposed to be required on this date, this date. So I can add multiple items. So if I want to add multiple items, I can decide to add multiple items on it. So I'll delete this. I don't need these two things, just this alone. Now, what's price? This is, let's assume this is in liters. Let's say 1,000 liters, for instance. Then unit of measure can be defined there. So if there are liters, let me see if there are liters here. I can. Okay. No, let me use this. Let me just use something. So no data is created. That particular one was created for a purpose. So let me see. How much is a liter of diesel today? Let's just zoom. Let's say 1.5 like this. So it means that at this end, I've raised the line transaction. I've raised a line transaction so I can add as many as possible. If you wish to add your VAT, if this particular purchase order is supposed to go with a VAT, you can as well include the VAT. Yes, so I don't know if I have set up this. Let's see. Okay, so this is okay. This is bringing this. Don't know if see. Okay, so what does this mean? So you have raised, or you are about, sorry, let me use the word, you're about to raise a purchase order for this particular transaction. So all I just need to do is to click on save. Then also, I forgot something. Let's assume this particular document or this purchase order is supposed to be generated from a particular document, like let's say a material requisition. If you can get items from a supply, so it depends. So you can raise a purchase order from any of these documents within the system. You can do from product bundle, material request, supplier quotation, which means these documents have been generated before coming. So you can see that these things are infused to each other. So if all that's been equal, so all I just did was to save the document. Maybe there is a need for me to, maybe the process is that immediately I click on save, it should send a notification, maybe to the next level, maybe a line manager to approve it for me. That can be designed on the system. And the line manager is going to get an email notification for this particular process. And when you get an email notification, there is a link that you can click as well to either say that that particular document should be done directly on his email, or it brings him back into the system. That can as well be achieved within the system. Then you could have situations whereby the line manager is supposed to approve based on a certain amount of on the document. That can actually be achieved on the system already. But for this training purpose or for this demo, I have not created a workflow on that. But if we need that, that can be created. Then all I just need to do is to click on submit. By the word submit, it means that you are confirming that whatever that has been done within the system on this particular document, you are okay by it. You have checked, you have seen that, oh, everything is okay. So you can then click on submit. So you can click on submit. And before you do submit, okay, let me just click on submit first. You can click on submit. Let's assume, because there are so many functions within the system as well, you can assign these documents. So any document that you're doing within the system, you can assign this document to a particular person. Now, this is not on approval level. Maybe for one reason or the other, you want somebody to help you check whatever that you have done on the system, maybe a colleague or something. You can assign an employee. So you will see that this will drop all employees within the system. So you can assign it to him or for him to check. Then also, if you want the documents, you want anything that is done within these documents, whether you are there or not, maybe because you are the one that raised it, you want how will I explain it? You want to get a notification, or you want to follow the document through. We have something here called follow. You can click on this follow as well, or you click on love, or make a comment on. So you can do anything within this particular document. So all documents generated within ERPNext, all these functions are available for you. Then also you can attach a document. For instance, you have only done this on the system. Your process is that you want to attach some documents to this particular document that you are raising. Yes, why not? You can, maybe the original PO or something, you can use this word attach file. So this attach file will allow you to upload some documents that can be attached to this particular document generated within the system. So all things being equal, you have done that. And if I go down to this system now, you will see the status of the document. I want to believe everybody. Can you hear me, please? So I'm not just speaking.
Yes, we are with you.
Okay. Okay. So now if you look at this, the status of this document, you can see the status of this document. What we only did was to raise the document and submit it so that no modifications can be done on it again. So it tells us that what is the next status of this particular document is to receive. So is to receive. So if you wish to receive this document, that is, you are receiving the stock of inventory. That is where the stock of inventory comes, you can do that. If you are in the same position doing, if you are the same person doing that, fine. But if you are not, maybe the duty of somebody receiving a product is different from the procurement officer, then it is a different ballgame. So if, for instance, now you are the same person doing it, all you just need to do is to click on this document. Is to click on the document. When you click on the document, you can see this function here called create. So you can create a document from here. You want to do a purchase receipt, you want to do a purchase invoice, you want to do a payment on it. So these are functions that are available within the system. So, but if your duty is not, your duty has ended raising the document, but definitely the what's it called? The stock has been delivered. So when the stock is delivered as what's it called? Let's say the store manager needs to, let's say, receive it. So there's something we also call purchase receipt, just like you have seen the other one. So I can come to purchase receipts here. So come to purchase receipts. So now on my purchase receipt, I can click on add purchase receipt, but I still want to make reference to the purchase order. You understand? So in this process, all I just need to do, you have to enter the date at which you are receiving it. Then you already know the supplier that is involved. So let me look at this. For instance, I'll change this to dainty farms. Now I'm receiving it on, let's say on the 6th as well. Yeah. Let's say that was when it actually came. Now you can, if you want to monitor the time as well, the system allows you to monitor the time. You can change the time at which that particular, but if not, you can leave that as it is. Now, the supplier that's supposed to supply the item is this. Now, watch what will happen. So at this level, you can the document, because definitely for everything you enter on the system, there must be a backup document. There must be a document to it. Those delivering the product will definitely come with a delivery note and all that. So you might want to use this to enter that function. Now, at this level, if you want to restrict it to the cost center, all your cost centers also becomes a drop down for you here, which you can actually select. Then you can also make this by default. We can allow it as a default within the system. So, yeah. So now look at this. Now I've only done this. Remember, I said that we want to match it to its original document. So if you look at it now, just like I told you the other one, that if you want to receive, if you want to raise a purchase order coming from a particular document, the same thing too here. So it will tell you, okay, this purchase receipt that you want to receive, or this stock you want to receive, is based on which particular document. The document we raised for it was purchase order. So I click on purchase order. Now you will see that this is the document. So the document becomes a drop down here. So I can click here to pick my, I just say get items, and this will drop down the particular item. So if you look at it now, it has dropped down the item, it has dropped down the warehouse. So we can, what else? So whatever that is received, let's assume 1,000 was not received or 1,000 was not delivered in that regard. So whatever that is delivered is what is being entered onto the system. So let's say 500 was delivered, you enter 500 here and you complete your transaction. It means that you still have a purchase order that has not yet been closed. Doing this, let's assume I'm raising everything What else do I need? So if there's VAT attached to it, I can have my VAT attached to it. So I click on save in this regard. So clicking on save as well here can do a kind of workflow. We can have a workflow here where it would request for authorization, and that this can also be done here. So immediately we do that, we click on submit. So because you are raising a purchase receipt, so which is your material receipt. So in this regard, by the time you click on submit, what will the system do? It would have updated your stock account. So they have updated your stock account. And in this regards as well, because this is not a supplier's invoice. So this is not a supplier's invoice. So there must be an account called maybe supplier's invoice not yet raised or something like that. So let me say I click on, so at this end is not yet going to affect your vendor. So by the time I click on submit, for instance, I click on submit, I say yes. So this particular document has been received. So it means that the next thing to do is to bill for this, which is your invoice, to make your invoice on. So if I click here, I can view my stock ledger, I can view my accounts ledger based on this transaction that I have done. So if I click on stock ledger, for instance, you will see that, oh, this particular ledger, which will give us a detail or which will give us a movement of stock in this regard. So you will see that the item is diesel, the quantity is this, which is this as well. This was document that was raised against it. Then the item group was this. Then I think this one was when we were doing, so the description is wrong. Anyway, so so you can see the valuation of that particular transaction that was done at that point. So you can see it there at that level. So let me go back. I'll go back out of this stream, then come back here. So if I want to check the ledgers, so account ledgers that were affected, I just click on accounting ledgers. So that same transactions, I'm drilling down to those transactions. So you can see my inventory diesel was updated, while the stock received but not yet billed is also credited. So it means that there is no invoice yet. So anytime I see a transaction here, it means that there are some transactions or some receipt that has been done, material received, but not yet invoice. So let's now it's now the duty of their financial the account department to now say, oh, okay, maybe they need to make payment, but before they make payment, they need to check the particular document, or the supplier is coming with his own invoice. So in that situation whereby he's coming with his own invoice, if you wish to do it directly on this document, you can't do it here. You can do it here, which is purchase invoice, or if you are not given that access, maybe because you are in the account department, so you can as well go out here and maybe search for your purchase invoice. So this will list out all purchases that has been invoiced, and you can add your own. So if I click here now, now pick the supplier. Then pick them, just restrict it to this company. Okay, so now let's say, okay, let's say system. Let's say this was when the invoice came back. So I can come here. So the same thing too, the same process as well. I can match it to a particular document. Just come here and say, oh, okay, the document that was that I'm working on is my purchase receipt. So I'll click on purchase receipt, then it drops down that particular document. Then I click here and say get items. So getting all the items, it's going to drop down all the things here. So let's assume you have different deliveries that has been made for this particular supplier, and it's just using a single invoice to do that. You can as well do the same thing here. So because when your store department, when your what's it called, your store guys are receiving, they are only receiving the product using different documents. So you can pull all those documents together, because your supplier's invoice is also coming as one. So the same thing, you can do that here. You just click on get items. When you click on get items, if there's any supplier's invoice, so if there's any material that has been received there, drop down there for you. So you bring it down here. So it means it is this you want to work on. So all you just need to do as well is just the same thing, save it. Done with your transaction. Then I click on submit. So this as well. So if I come here now, let's say I come here to say I want to see my accounts and ledgers. So you will see that at this level now, we have our, what's it called? Our stock received was not billed. You now see that it is now debited. Why our creditors control account has been credited, why the VAT account also is debited. So this is what you will have, and you have a balanced transactions here. So now you now need to make payments to the supplier. If you need to make payments, just like the supplier's document, payment entry also has its own aspect, or you can do it directly from this same document. So I just come here and click on payment. So you can make payments on this particular transaction. Then what else? Then, okay. So you choose a mode of payment. Let me see if I've created mode of payment for this. Let's assume, I don't know if I've made some kind of restrictions there, but let's see. So it's they put the supplier's name there, it puts everything relating to the, so this particular mode of payment has, let me see. Okay, so this now paid from this bank. When we set up, we'll set up different banks here as mode of payment. So, and they are linked to ledger accounts, which automatically drops down here. Then what else? Then these accounts that needs to be paid. So this might not, the users might not come here. So all they just need to do is just to pick all that we have. So this means that this is the amount that is due, that is on that particular invoice as well. So if there could be a situation whereby the supplier is paying more than this, you can increase it, or if it's not paying up to that, you can reduce it. Or sorry, that you are paying the supplier rather, you can reduce it on the system, and that's so. So when you do that, it's going to list out all invoices that has not been matched, because you need to match your payments to your invoice. So if it is not matched, then you can come here and just say you want to allocate whatever. So you can have like 5 invoices here that has not yet been matched, or that has not yet been paid for, and you need to match them. So you just come here, enter the value at which you are matching again each of those documents, and you have all that needed on the system, and you save it and you submit it onto the system. So all these particular transactions comes with an audit. You will get a notification for everything that is being done, if that is actually required. So if I come back here, let's go back. Let me come here. So you will see that all payments. So if I didn't go through that document, I can come here as well and say add payment entry. So you'll see I can add payment. So you can make, so this payment entry works for your bank transfer. It also makes payment, and it's also received. So if you are receiving from your customer, you can as well. The only thing that is different is the payment type. So you can select the payment type. When you are paying out, of your organization, you use the word pay. So whether you're paying a customer, because there are situations whereby you pay a customer, and these situations, what are the kind of situations you pay a customer? Let's say you are making a kind of refund to your customer. So you use that. So then you're also receiving money. You can receive money from your customers. You can receive money from your supplier as well. Then you can do bank transfer. So this aspect, this is just it about our payment entry, and all these particular transactions, like I said, can have a workflow process attached to them. So so let's go into the supplier's invoices again. I want to show you something. purchase invoice, list. So you will now see that it will mark if the document has been paid. So you will see the status here. So you can generate any of these reports. You can by filters and all the system. So let me go out of here. The same thing into is also peculiar to your selling, which is just the same way you have for buying, where you have a purchase requisition, converting a purchase requisition to a purchase order, converting that purchase order to invoice and making payments on it. You can have the same thing too on your what's it called, on your sales aspect of it. So you can have customers, you can have quotation whereby you receive quotation, then that quotation has been converted to a sales order, converting it to invoice. Then you have something we call blanket or order. You could have a contract with your suppliers. You can have a contract with your supplier, with your customers, and you want to keep that contract so that at every point in time, you can always go there to make, you generate an invoice from it. So let's say there is a particular customer that has told you that you are going to supply us for a whole year. So in that regards, you want to keep that contract on the system, then you generate an invoice from it. So that is on supplier. Then the system also has this POS function whereby you can see, you can have a glimpse of all your sales personnel can actually use that to make sales. So it means that there must have been some transaction that would have been done, which means we'll move some product to a selling point whereby they will sell from that and they will receive. So at points whereby they are making sales, the system is being updated without anybody interfering with it. So that is that about that. And let's go into the aspect of stock.
Let me.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. So you're saying that, say, for example, you have 3 sales personnel, for example, and you want to track sales made by each of the sales personnel. Is that what you just mentioned?
Okay, no, sir. But if it is this sales personnel, we can have salesperson. That is, we can create all your sales personnel on the system so that at every point in time, when sales is being made through your invoice, it is attached to their name. But the other one I'm talking about is the point of sales. Let's assume it is the person, let's say somebody that is selling it directly. It is different from when you look at a salesperson. A salesperson is just going out there to converse with customers out there, trying to bring them into the system. That's a general thing. But this person I'm talking about, this feature I'm talking about is just like we have in a supermarket. You have a POS system. The cashier is pointing or is punching what is being sold. So that same thing can also be replicated on this system. So it means that a cashier or the person selling to, let's say, walk-in customers that just walk in, then they go. So you can have that as well. That's what I'm saying. So let me see if I have, let me just show you. Let me see if I can. Okay, I think this is okay. Okay, so this is something like this I was talking about. So let's say, because I have so many things here, so this is what I'm trying to say. So rather than the cashier going through the aspect of raising an invoice, they don't need to raise an invoice. They can use this feature. I don't know if you can see this POS awesome. They can use this feature to key in their transaction. Immediately they key, it will print out a till for them, which they give to their customers and everybody. And this is updated into it automatically creates an invoice for you on the system. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying now.
Please come again.
Okay, let me use the example. If I can remember, it's just that I cannot remember the full names. I can't remember the names. I know at Dainty, there used to be where the freezers, I think where the freezers are being located, whereby
Yes.
somebody yes, egg bay, exactly, egg bay. So we can have that egg bay as a location, as a cap. So what that person, what that user will be using is this point of sales. So he just need to key in. Let's assume there is no
So just like the usual working sales that we do not want to create, a customer we do not want to create account for.
exactly. In fact, you have spoken it. So you just use this to key in that transaction, and it prints out a till through the point of sales printer, or if it is normal printer you can just do that, and it will automatically create an invoice. So instead of us going through the aspect of the invoice document, we don't need to go through the aspect of the invoice document. That's what I'm trying to explain. So let me show you that. I think there are two points of sales here that we can look at, but let me just. So instead of, this is what I'm trying. So instead of going to my sales invoice and coming here to start saying add sales invoice and start going through these processes, no, I don't need to do that. So it means that somebody will have to open a shift and all that. So let me see if I can get a better view of POS, another POS. Here, let me see this. This one does not. I don't have this, but that's just a simple idea of the points of sales I'm actually talking about, so that you can even use this on your mobile. Yeah, you can use this on your mobile, whereby using the what's it called? There's no mobile app for it. Let me use that way. There's no mobile app for it, but it can be converted to the resolution or the size of your the mobile device that you are using, whether you are using an iPad or you are using a smartphone or that. So you can actually do the same thing. It will only convert it. I've forgotten the name we call that this, but it will automatically convert that through the browser. So let's go to our stock. So for stock management now, you have opportunity to create different warehouses where the stock would have to be received into. And let's look at some of them. Let's look at warehouses. So let me just create warehouses. So I'll just look at my warehouse list. So I have different warehouses here created on the system. So you can have all your stock managed within those warehouses. Then as well, like I said, you could have a structure around your warehouses as well, where you have the main warehouse, you have a sub warehouse, you have sub. You can have all those things segmented also on the warehouse. So if I click or search for my segment warehouse, warehouses, warehouse list, warehouse structure. So trying to look at warehouse structures that might be available, but it's not giving me those structures. So let me just use this as an example. Let me just so if you look at this now, you will see that there is something we call this is identified as a group warehouse. So under that group, you can attach a parent to this particular warehouse. So that's what I'm saying. So you're having a structure of those warehouses if your situation is like that. But in this case, you can have them directly at which they post into it. So you can always get your reports based on those warehouses that are being created. Now, the stock transaction, there are different stock transactions that can be managed onto the system. So aside the aspect of material requests, we have something we call, what's it called? Stock entry. So stock entry is more like the stock transactions itself. So if I click on stock entry now, for instance, you will see different transactions that can be done based on the type that is selected. So for instance, I'm doing a particular stock transaction. Let's say I want to transfer from one particular warehouse to another warehouse. So it means that if I choose my stock entry type, you will see that I have something called material issue. That is when the material is supposed to be consumed directly into maybe the ledger account. So if you need to material receipt, so this is the aspect you are making a receipt. It means that you don't have it's not coming through a purchase order, or it's not coming through a purchase receipt. Maybe you want to make adjustments for one reason or the other. So you have your material receipt here. So material issue, for instance, if you are going to be using your diesel, so you have your diesel already and you want to use it every day, so you need your material issue to be able to handle that. Just like your feeds as well. So for every feed that you have on the system that has been created, your feeds, your what's it called? Medication, the medications for your beds and all that. So you have that. Then when it is being utilized, you will use the material issue for every aspect of it. For instance, let me just speak this. For instance, the company is the NT funds. Then the transaction is happening, let's say, yeah. So at this level, I can now choose. So for material issue, what I need is a warehouse, that is the source warehouse. So if I'm using transfer, that is I'm transferring a product or an item from one location or from one warehouse to the other, these two, which is the source warehouse and the target warehouse, will be important. But when I'm doing a material issue, the only thing required here is the material, is a source warehouse. When I'm doing material receipt, it means the only warehouse that is important is the target warehouse. And all these things are being updated into your stock ledger account. So let's assume I'm doing a material issue. So my warehouse, because I need to know the warehouse I'm picking the item from. Let's say I have stock here for diesel. Which products do I have here? Diesel. So let me use for diesel, for instance, here. So I pick diesel here. So I can't change this. So now, how many am I using? Let's say today we utilize the 10 liters. So I'll just put 10 here. Then after, so what else do I need? Nothing. Now, we can also bring, there's something, let's say this is a ledger account. You have a ledger account that needs to be updated. Definitely there must be a diesel usage account. Sorry, please hold on. Hello, please, I'm in a meeting. Hello. Okay. So we can bring the what's it called? The ledger account here, but if I click on this edit, for instance, I have this edit here, then I can just scroll down to my GL account here. So let's say I have a diesel GL account. I don't need that, but let's say I have a diesel. So this is inventory for diesel, so which means I cannot use that. Let's say I don't have any expense account here. So whatever expense account that you have or usage, or let me just even use the cost of goods sold just for this purpose. Then what else? Then I think that's about that. Then I just click on save it. So I save this now, for instance. So when saving this, for instance, and I can do some actions there. Now, okay, now I think we did. So now this is what I was trying to tell you. Look at, immediately we raised this. I think we just did this alone. Requester at HO. If you look at it, this person cannot move on because there is need for approval. So the action needed here is, you can see approve and reject. So all that can actually be created. So let's assume I'm approving this now. I'll click on approve. Approved by BMG, that's a business manager that has been set up, and we created that for a purpose. So immediately I do that, issued by material manager. So all those functions, because I'm using administrative rights, so that's why I can do all those functions. If you are not given the function or the rights to approve a particular transaction, you won't be able to do that. So that's why you have that. So if I go down there, drill down to, you can check your stock ledger to actually see the stock that left that particular warehouse. So if you look at this, for instance, this is the item. Now we brought in 1,000. We have, this is the balance that we have here. The same thing too goes down to, if you are going to be using your stock ledger account, you'll see your inventory is credited, while your cost of goods we chose at that level, which can be redesigned. So I think those are just the only thing. That's for our material usage. So many things within the system that you can use. The system also have a manufacturing process, whereby you can have your manufacturing process being done. If you have product bundle as well, all those product bundles that you usually sell, you can set up your product bundle. You can set up your product bundle. Let's say you have maybe chicken wings and heads. So they have different pricing. You sell them separately, and you want to just match them together because you are putting a price, and that particular price, immediately you sell that, it will automatically update each of these items. So you sell, normally you sell your head and feet separately. You also sell chicken wings separately, but you want to make a bundle offer on them. You can have them created together. By the time this is sold, it recognizes that when it is sold, whatever quantity that you have used there is going to split those quantities based on the product that has been done on the system. So those are just the only thing that might be applicable to you in inventory. So the same thing too with warehouse. You can have, then you can create all items. I didn't show you those items that have been created on the system, but you can create your items on the system. I'll still go back to the report aspect, but I just want to also look at all those transactional aspects. Let's see the trying to say, let's see your items. So your items, you can have different pricing mechanisms for your product, maybe based on some customers. Some customers are in this region and you want their price to be different from another region. Yeah, it is possible. That's so anytime that particular customer is chosen, the cost is in that particular region, it is a selling price that is going to be applicable. That is, or if you want, you don't want your users to edit the prices of this product. Yeah, that can actually be done within the system. Then if you want to monitor delivery notes, that is the product, yeah, you have sold it, but you want to monitor it that it is when it is being delivered. Also, you can also do that within the system so that you can generate a delivery note separately. Yes, the customer has actually purchased but has not been delivered to you. It's a different ball game entirely. So the system will recognize that an invoice has been done. So awaiting delivery. So when it is being delivered, that is when it is then affecting your stock. So that can be managed separately. Or if you wish that immediately an invoice is done, automatically a delivery note should be done as well. That as well can be done within the system. So you can also manage picking list, whereby maybe your customer goes to another location, another point, whereby they need to go and pick all those products that have been sold to them. Yes, so they need to generate a document for them to confirm that this particular product has been sold to them. the system can actually do that as well. So many functions within the system. I was going to show you the items detail. So you have where you can create your items, and each of these items as well can have different functions that you can create to attach to them. Let me see. So now also you can have, I think I created, let me pick one of those items. Okay, look at this now. You can attach your picture, the picture of your products to your item, so that maybe for those that are selling it, they can, that is using the point of sales, it becomes a picture as well for them. Apart from the code, apart from the description, the picture can as well be displayed for them so that they can see whatever they are picking on that. So the product can, these are all the product, these are functions that can be done with your item. You can manage it by serial number, you can manage it by batch, you can manage so many functions around this system. Like I told you, you have a pricing rule. You can have a pricing rule on it. So the pricing rule, like I told you earlier, is that a particular region is selling at a particular price. You want to be able to do that. Or you're having a kind of discount that you're giving, all those sentiment, incentives that you want to apply to your pricing rule, it can actually be done onto the system. So what thoughts on stock? Let's look at stock. Let's say, for instance, I want to check my stock ledger. So my stock ledger is supposed to show me all. So let me say for this. So this is from this date to this date. So this from January to the date. So you can see, for instance, the only thing that was done here was diesel. So you see diesel here to show you the movements. It came in with this. We use this for this. Okay. So okay, it has even finished that program. So and that's all about it. So you will see how that. Then also, as well, if you look at that's for our stock, right? That's for our stock. All the other reports, I'm trying to check other. Okay, so for stock balance, you are going to see your stock valuation reports. That's going to see your stock valuation reports on that. Let's see, DT funds. Yeah. So you're going to see these are all transactions that has been done so far. So let me say I want to restrict it to a particular item or product or warehouse. I can do that within the system. You'll say generate. So you can see this is going to give you a valuation of your product. You can say valuation of your product, the stock quantity, the value, also you are going to see all this within the system. So the price you are going to see, which is the cost price that it's used for its valuation, you are going to see. Then the system makes use of the weighted average, before, I think standard, whatever costing method that you wish, the system has that applicable. So anyone that you wish to use, you can, and you can have different ones. Maybe you can have a single one that is you are going to use on all your product, or your product itself may have different costing methods. So whatever that is attached on that particular product is what is going to use for its valuation on this aspect of it. So that's aside that, then what other report that might be important? Now, another thing that is important, you have stock aging reports. So it will show you the age of your products or your items. You can know product that has been in shelf for 30 days, for 60 days, for 90 days, and all that. So you can have that also. And based on the location or warehouses that has been created, you can have that as well. So you can have all the what else, the prices and all that also within the system. So okay, so I'm not restricted. Let me just do dainty. So this gives you, this is what I'm trying to say. So you can see based on the dates that which you use for your transaction, you're going to see. For instance, let's say diesel with this price, with this quantity rather. So if you look at this now, it's between 30 days. 30 days, so you have 90 days here. So that's just the only thing. This is the earliest dates that we use. I think the days that's used so far within the system. So that's just it about our products or our stock management on the system. If you have any question, please let me know before I go into the HR aspect of it.
Hi, Olumide.
Hi, please.
Yes, thank you. I think the what's it called? The exposition has been very interesting. I think I like the feature you just showed, which has to do with what's it called? Tracking the age. I mean, doing the aging analysis of inventory items, which makes a lot of sense. So I want to ask, does ERP have similar feature for purchases, such that it could also track prices, maybe chart a price trend based on information captured?
Yes, you have that within the purchase orders on the selling. Yes, you can have that as well. So I have age analysis here. Let me go to my account, my reports, my report. So let me see this, for instance. Look at this now. This is for your customers, so you can see this is for customers. The system has a dashboard where you can create different dashboard. You can create different reports within the system. Yeah, so let me show you some of the dashboard that are available, and we can create dashboard lists. We can have as many, let's see, I'm just showing you this. So we can create as many. So I'm just showing this as example, not so we can create something like this. We can create a trend for it as well in this regard. So many things can be done within the application. So, but for the suppliers, I want to show you the age analysis for suppliers, just like we showed for customers. Let's see this, also accounts. So many things here. Let me just look here so that you can see the report. Okay. So this is for the payables here as well. So you can see, you can get your age analysis by the payables as well. So it will show you all the suppliers within the system, and as well their age, the age of the invoices as well. You can actually get it at this level. So that's for that. So for other ones, for the price trend, we can create it even if it is not available within the system. The most important thing is if we understand how it should be, then it can be created. So that's just it about that. Any other question?
No.
Okay, so for HR, like I said, you can manage all your recruitment process from point of entry to exit of employees within the system. So let's assume you want to raise an application and you want to push it out there. That's and integrating it into your website. So your applicants just go in there, fill a form, and that form is updated into the ERPNext. So you will see that we can have staff planning here. We can have job requisitions whereby job is requested via each department. So you can make that available within the system. Then if there are interview processes that need to be captured also, you can have that as well. Then definitely most of the activity that has been done here will then be attached to the life cycle of the employees. So you can have a kind of onboarding process whereby when the employee comes, what are the kind of things you need to give these employees? What's in terms of materials and in terms of maybe education or some kind of mentoring that needs to be done. All that can be done within the system. You can transfer the employee from one location to the other, make a promotion and all that within the system. Then it also has what is it called, performance appraisal, where you can set up your different appraisal, your KPIs within the system. Then these appraisals are then being used on each employees also. That can be done. Then also it can manage your shift and attendance. So your shift and attendance, employee comes on, you want to recognize that, oh, this employee is present today or is absent today. Leave management, this particular employee is absent within the system. So you can have that also integrated here. Then also you can integrate this into a biometrics. So depends on whatever that is feeding from the biometrics. If the biometrics is open, which means our developers would have to integrate this for you, but at a different cost. So they will integrate this for you onto the system so that by the time they clock in, the system recognizes that particular user that has clocked in and record it onto the system. So at the end of the day, you can print out maybe your attendance sheet or all that for whatever thing like you want to use it for. So you have that also on the system. Then you can also upload, for instance, if you don't want to integrate, you just want to feed your data, you want to fetch out your data and automatically upload it into the ERPNext. You can feed it out in Excel or CSV file, send it onto the ERPNext and upload. Then another function, the system ERPNext has what is it called? It has the feature of importing. So you can import any data, but the data must meet the requirements or the columns of each of these screens on the system. So you can import that onto the system. Then expense claims. So there could be some expense that maybe what you call IOU, you give it out to the employees, and when they come back, they retire that also on the system. The system has that you have leave management. You want to monitor or you want to plan for a particular leave at the beginning of the year. Then in between, if an employee goes on leave, you want to be able to track all those things. You can as well do that within the system. So the system will tell you who is due for leave or the balance on each of these leave. Then also there's something called holiday. The system can actually the system will ask to enter holidays that will happen in that particular year so that the system can actually know or get the exact working period of the employees that are involved. So it gives you the exact working periods. So if the situation whereby an employee goes or an employee is not available, it's recognized as an absent onto the system. I think those are just it. Then also, we now go to the aspect of the payroll. What are the functions around payrolls? You want to be able to monitor the activities in terms of payment to the employees, all the pay elements. For instance, your basic housing transport, your payee, bonuses, and you want to be able to manage that within the system, you can as well do that.
So where is that? I can't see. I mean, I was about to ask you the question that is it that this does not have a payroll module?
It does. So that's what I want to show you here. So this is it. This is it. So this is payroll. But before payroll, there's something we need to do. All these basic housing transport, all those salary components will have to be created. So this is it. Then you also have salary structure. Salary structure, definitely, yeah, you have salary component, but employees have different structures, and you want to be able to monitor those structures so that when you are creating a new employee, you can attach them to their respective structures. So you can as well do that onto the system. Then what else? Additional salary situations whereby additional salary will serve in two forms, which is either you are adding to it or you are subtracting from it. So let's assume there is a surcharge that you want to give to this employee. You use the additional salary as well for it. The only thing is that what's it called? The salary component that you are using, the system will require you from will only be a deduction. And that's that about. Then it also has a loan management whereby you can apply for a loan. Different types of loan can be created within the system. Then you can monitor the loans till when payment is being made and all within the system. So at every point in time, every month you're supposed to generate a salary slip for each of your employees. So generating a salary slip can actually you can actually get a notifications to all employees via email, so they can get their notifications on all that. Okay. So you can do that. So salary slip are done monthly. So if you look at this now, this is for 1 month, this is for another month. So you see, so you can always print out your salary slip at every month. Let me just do this for instance.
What about consolidation?
Yeah, you can consolidate. That is your salary schedule. You can have your salary schedule. Yeah, you can have it.
There's nothing to show here. You probably need to create a new one.
Let me see. Not much transactions have been done yet. Let's see this till date. Okay, so this is what you are going to have. So
still a payslip.
And this.
Okay. Okay, so this is like a payroll register, right?
Yes.
No, so why would that would be necessary is because when you're filing your what's it called, annual returns.
Yes.
Yeah, so what would really be of interest is the annual payout to employees, not the monthly what's it called, earnings. So it will be required that you consolidated, and if of course there could be a reporting template we've created or that is in the model or in the system rather that can already would have consolidated that, and it makes the work seamless.
Yeah, I understand.
Whether a personnel spend just 1 month or 2 months, it will consolidate everything as a report. You know, whatever you are doing is actually analyzed. You're only just administering it on a monthly basis.
Yes, I understand. So, any other question? I think those are just the.
Okay. One big code resistant. We're almost rounding. Omar, Sahid, are you with us?
Any other question, please?
I think me, I'm fine. Okay, so another question I want to
I
ask.
must actually exhaust all the questions here. I am certain of that. I think what you need to also do better is to probably take some of the
Modules.
most important features. You know that definitely everybody, especially in finance, will say, okay, you have just used invoicing, PO as an example, and you define the features that describe ERPNext or that differentiate ERPNext from, at least, you know, I know you have done PowerSoft, you have done what do I call it? Sage. Have Zoho, and you have those other things that gives ERPNext an advantage. If it is, I'm saying this as a simple and interactive software that even in some places it gives description, it explains. I could see PO, it describes what the PO is. So even if you are new to PO, it gives you, so extract those things and describe each of those processes. You know, even if we're going to, if eventually settle for this, that we're going to come to the point of implementation. It is those things that you have briefed us about, that you have shared with us, that we will take you up on as deliverables when we are eventually at the stage of implementation or deployment, so to say. So maybe that should be the next stage of thing, because so many of these things you cannot exhaust here. So maybe a PowerPoint presentation that takes each processes and gives the basic feature of each of those processes, and how where there are integrations of a process to a process, like you were describing, that even from the same page where you are doing PO, you can receive from there, you can initiate payments from there. Give those features that gives us a sense of, because at the end of the day, it is how robust the information you have shared with us that will give us a leverage to say, okay, this is where we're going for this. And you know that since we are in the process of shopping for a new software, we are going to have to compare with other options, and we will settle for the ones with the features that meet our expectations the most. I don't know whether you get the point that I'm trying to make. So that maybe when you pick HR also for an example, there are some things you've said, okay, for this HR module, you can actually plan, the features, you can plan recruitment from there, you can do performance planning from there, you can do performance review from there, you can do payroll management, and indicate the kind of reports that can be generated from that particular module. Same thing for those features like that. I think you get the point I'm trying to.
Yes, very well, sir. Very well, sir. So what I can do is I can do a PDF document. I can do a PDF document that we explain each of the features that are available there and the report that is available there. But so any other question?
Umar, Said, are you a spectator? Are you both spectators?
I've requested Umar to unmute his mic, so let's see.
Thank you, sir. We are with you. My own question is based on the report. You didn't show us the report of accounting report. And what I want to know is that under this report, are we converted to Excel or PDF?
Okay. Are those your questions? So that I can just take them once.
You said, is that all the
Is
questions
that
you
all?
have? Yes, it's all.
Okay. Okay. So showing you all the reports, of course I don't know if you started with us, but I talked about the most important report for account, which are the financial reports. I talked about what's it called? Your financial statements. So I'm going to go back there again. There is no report. All reports on this system can be extracted into Excel and PDF. So let's look at one, for example. So if I go to my account, my accounts as a module, different things that if you look at done. So if you look at this, you can see trial balance, you can see profit and loss, you can see balance sheet. Let me just pick one of them, for example. Let's say our trial balance, for instance. The dates, anyway, let's leave that. It's talking about the financial dates, so let me just speak. Let's speak for 2024. Okay. So this is your trial balance, for instance. Because of the different segment that is involved, you are going to see them also break down like that on this report. Then you can filter by cost centers. So if you don't pick anything here, it means that all cost centers are selected. But by pick a cost center here, it means it's restricting to a particular cost center on the system. So that is the essence of this filtration that is available here. So if any of these reports, I can decide to print in PDF, you can see PDF or export. So you can have this, for instance, let me just click the word export here, Excel, so CSV. So whatever that you wish to do, just click on download.
Okay, thank you. My
So,
second question.
yes.
My second question is based on your clients, is there anybody that is, I mean, the company that is in the same business line that is using this software?
Okay, so no. When it comes to farming, no yet from our own hand. We don't have anybody in farming that is using it. But we have different in other industries, from manufacturing, from retail, we have all that. You understand? We have that. Even what's it called? Contracts, services, all those we have that. But when it comes to farming or agriculture in particular, none for now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
My question is, this particular software, does it have a kind of control where work that is expected to have been done yesterday cannot be done today?
Has been done yesterday cannot be done today.
Yes.
So that kind of so that so yes, you have what we called accounting period. So we can actually block accounting period, but let me see if it would entail date. So somebody needs to block it. So it's not like it's opened. Somebody needs to block it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand this.
So somebody needs to block it. If you don't block it, it's still available for you to use. And you're going to block it based on, look at this, for instance. Look at this. So I have to, which means I have to add it. So like I can say monthly transaction. But in your own case, is well, I don't know why you want to do daily, but so somebody needs to start creating these things every day. It means that I will say period. I can say I will use dates as a period from, so which means start date and end date will be the same date. Then at this level, I will now have to close each of these transactions. You can see all the transactions that you do here will appear here. This is for sales invoice, purchase invoice, and all that. So everything can be closed. But somebody needs to come here and start doing it. So that's what. So it's not like it's, yeah. So you have to create those things and block it. Yes. Yes. So any other thing, please?
Okay, so when can I get feedback on what I requested for? So
On or before Monday, sir.
Monday, okay. Thank you very much. We spent more than the time allotted. We also have a meeting for 2 o'clock. Which,
okay, sure.
So okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Umar, you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we can review this further internally, and then I can also put a line of communication between yourself and Olumide as well, so that you can get as much feedback as you might need.
All right, sir. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Olumide. I'll be on standby to receive your email. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you.